Sciencegranny. I'm glad you could join me this week again. Today we're going to learn about plants. In particular, we're going to learn about life support for plants. But before we begin, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about plants. Plants are living things with many of the same needs as animals. They use energy from food to grow, same as animals. They use gases from the air, and they need water in the right climate. The one difference between plants and animals, though, is that plants can make their own food. Yes, make their own food. Not cheeseburgers, not pizza, but they can make their own food, the kind they need so they can survive. Before we begin, there's a couple of words that we may be talking about today in the experiment that you need to know what they are. And I'll hold those up. The first one is carbon dioxide. The chemical is capital C, capital O2, which is CO2, carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is a gas that's breathed out by animals, and plants like to breathe it in. So kind of a cool little relationship going on. The other vocabulary word that we're going to be coming across today is nutrients. And nutrients are minerals that all living things need to grow. So everyone needs some kind of nutrients. Okay? In a moment, we're going to go ahead and talk about exactly what kinds of things plants need. Okay, so I said there's 4 things that plants need. One we've talked about, carbon dioxide. Once again, it's from the air and it's gas that's breathed out by animals. 2, nutrients, normally coming from the soil, the minerals in the soil. Of course, 3, water. They're normally from the rain. Maybe you might water them yourself to simulate the rain. And 4, light. And that comes from the sun, which provides energy. Plants cannot live in total darkness, with rare exception, very rare. So you really have to make sure your plants get a lot of light. So today we're going to do an experiment that has to do with plants needing light. Okay, so a plant makes its own food by a process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis takes place in a plant's leaves. Light is trapped by chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is in the leaves trap the energy from the light. The energy helps the plant use the carbon dioxide and water, H2O, to make sugar as food. And as you can see, I had a professional artist draw this plant. The leaves take the carbon dioxide gas from the air, and the leaves give off oxygen and water vapor, as we'll see in our experiment. The roots take in the water from the soil, and the stem carries it up to the leaves. And oxygen is kind of well known as a waste product of photosynthesis, but that's good because who needs oxygen? We do, and all the other animals in the world. Okay, I'm going to show you a little better plant picture, and it shows the sun giving the energy to the leaves, and then the process that we just talked about. It also shows the chloroplast containing the chlorophyll, which we're going to talk about as we do the experiment. So it's kind of a what we call a symbiotic relationship, where the plants give off oxygen, hence the reason for planting so many trees and having plants in your home to help you breathe better. And then at the same time, when we breathe out our waste product of carbon dioxide, the plants can live. So it's a very good thing that we have going on between plants and other living things. Okay, we're going to start with experiment 1, and just reminding you that plants make food for themselves. They also make oxygen that keeps us alive. In this investigation, we're going to control variables to see how sunlight affects this process, which is the name of the experiment, is how light affects plants. Okay, for this experiment, you're going to need 2 large plastic containers. I bought these at the Big Lots. They're for shoes is what I use them for, but they're very cheap, like 99 cents, so you need 2 of those. You're going to need some water in a pitcher or however you want to carry your water. And then you're also going to need 2 pieces of alodia. And alodia is a plant, I guess I can show you right here, is a plant that you can buy in an aquarium shop. So what you're going to do with that, and then you need 2 clear funnels and 2 test tubes. I put that in the bottom of my jar. I fill up my container with water, and I keep on going. I don't know if I have enough water in here, so you might have to fill your pitcher up at least twice until your container is full enough so your funnel, let's see, push this over here a little bit more, so your funnel will be covered with water. Your funnel is probably a kitchen tool, probably something your mom has in her kitchen. You'll put the LODA at the bottom and try to cover it up completely with your funnel, which is no easy task, but if you can, you want to do that. And then you're going to use water, probably from your sink, fill up your test tube. I don't know what else you can use for test tube. You pretty much have to get a test tube. You cover it with your finger and try to cover the top of the funnel so that you get as little water gone as you can. You can see that it came out, so I didn't do that quick enough. You have to try to keep the water in the funnel. Then, with one container, you're going to set that container. Assistant, can you turn that lamp around and turn that on? It's at the top. And one container you'll keep in either the sunlight outdoors when it's a sunny day, or turn the lamp on it. Over here, please. Okay, so that's one of the containers. The other container, like I did with this one, you'll do the same thing with the funnel and the LODA and the test tube. This one I did a little better job on. I didn't lose all the water. And then this container will stay in a closet. We're testing to see if light affects plants. So this one will be in a very dark closet, and don't open the door. And you need to keep both of the containers in those different conditions for several hours. I did it in the morning and kept until the end of the night. So if you're going to do this on your own, you might want to think about doing that one day and maybe the next morning come out and see what you have. Okay. Once again, you need to make sure that you cover the test, once you fill the test tube up with water, that you've covered over with your thumb or your finger, and try to get it on the top of the funnel without letting go of the water. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what the results are going to be, but you can imagine that there will be some different results. The LOD is the same, the test tubes are the same, the funnels are the same, except they're different color on each of the bodies of them. So what would you think the control variables would be? What was different? What varied between the two different containers? And I think you said one was going to be in the light and one was going to be in the dark. That's what I think you said. I hope that's what you said. Okay, now when you're done with this experiment after a few hours or the next morning, look and see what's different in one test tube than the other test tube, and you should see some differences. And then what can you infer about where the gas came from, because you will be seeing some little bubbles of gas. Okay? Scientists control variables to learn what effect each condition has on the outcome of an experiment. What one variable did we change in this investigation? Different light situations. Which variables were the same? We used both test tubes with water, both we used funnels, piece of LODA, same containers, same amount of water. So those were the same. So those were not variables. Okay, students, a second experiment that'll be real quick and probably a little easier for you to do at home is to prove how plants breathe. Indeed, they breathe just like animals do. They also need to exchange gases, like we've said before, carbon dioxide for oxygen. Let's look for evidence that a plant breathes through its leaves, which is what we think happens. First thing we'll need to do is make a chart. Well, actually, we need to get a leafy potted plant, which I've done. I'm not sure what this plant is called. I think it's called Creeping Charlie. We need some Vaseline, petroleum jelly, 2 clear baggies with ties, twist ties that you get from your bread or wherever. And then we're going to make a chart like this one that's on the lesson plan that I've made copies for. Those that have subscribed will get theirs ahead. Okay? This is a plant leaf. You've got leaf with petroleum jelly and leaf without the petroleum jelly, and then you're going to make some observations. That's in the packet that I'll send to you if you send me an email, or some people I already sent to. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll put some Vaseline, a little bit of Vaseline, on a leaf, front and back. So we want to make sure it's all covered with Vaseline. Now you realize that if something's coated with something like petroleum jelly, it'd be hard for things to get through there. Just mentioning that so you might get an idea what might happen. So I'm putting it all over the leaf. You probably want to have a paper towel ready so you can wipe off your hand when you're done, or your fingers. Let me see if I've got a paper towel here. It's kind of goopy and sticky. Okay, so then we do that, and then we're going to take one of the baggies, and what I did was I had a baggie that has the magic little zip thing, and I cut it off because it's too hard to deal with the little zipper thing. So now I've just got a baggie smaller, but I don't need it. Okay, so you take your baggie that's been cut so you don't have to deal with the zipper. You place it over the leaf and make sure you cover the whole leaf, and then you put the twist tie gently around the leaf, but make sure that you've covered up the little bit of stem where the plant leaf would get the stuff that it needs, because you know it needs to get water and minerals and all that. But see, now essentially it's not getting anything. We hope that's what's going to happen. All right, and then the next one you would do the same thing, but now you're going to pick a leaf similar, close, or maybe a different leaf. Same thing, cut the baggie so you don't have to mess with the zipper. Cover it up, use a twist tie very gently and cover it up or close it, but no petroleum jelly on that second one, okay? And then what's going to happen is you're going to put it in some place that gets plenty of light, normal, like in the sun, but it could be in the house, but it has to get sunlight, and water it like you normally would. If it's dry, you would put some water in there. Then after 2 days, you'll observe the different leaves. You'll have two different baggies here. You'll observe the baggie, open carefully and look at the leaf and see what's happening in the bag maybe, or to the leaf, and then the same with the other bag. And put those on your chart and make your observations about what happened and see if plants do indeed breathe. I'm thinking that if they do breathe, we would see something inside the bag to show that they have breathed in some carbon dioxide. So I'm going to show you what I did 2 days ago, and I'm not sure if it's going to show up on the camera, but you can just kind of see there's like little bits of moisture, and I'm thinking that's a carbon dioxide, but I want you to try it and you let me know. Okay, let's talk about what happens at the end. Drawing conclusions. We're going to compare the two plastic baggies, like I said, and see what you observe. What can you infer from what you observe? So think about what can you decide is true about the two things that you observed. Scientists often compare objects or events. Comparing allows the scientists to see the effects of the variables they control. In this case, one had petroleum jelly, one did not. Compare the leaves you use in this investigation and then decide what you infer about the effect of the petroleum jelly. All right, let's put this all together, what we did today. Let's summarize about plants. Basically, plants need air, nutrients, water, and light to live. They won't survive if they don't have those four things. Their leaves make food through the process called photosynthesis. What are the four things that plants need to live? I think you said air, nutrients, water, and light. You'd be right. What provides the energy for photosynthesis to take place? Did you say sunlight? I think that's what I heard you say, and you were right. It needs energy from the sun or some source of light. Which of the following provides most plants with nutrients? Air, water, soil, or sunlight? Soil is right. Excellent. You've been listening. Okay, let's put this aside and let's talk about what you have in a packet if you email me. If you email me at Sciencegranny50 I can send you this packet plus how to do the experiments. And one is just kind of recapping what photosynthesis is. You can look at your notes to be able to fill that out. Another one is a little Venn diagram. I'm sure you've done those at school before, about sugar and chlorophyll. Another is just simply how to grow a plant from a bean seed. I bought these at the Home Depot, different bean seeds, so they're pretty cheap. You can get those. You need some soil. You'll need some kind of a pot, but in the beginning you could start with a cup, a plastic cup. And of course you need water and things to get started on that. And this tells you how to do it, and then it gives you a recording sheet as you can check this every day and see what's happening with your bean seed. Is it growing? Is it going to become green? Another one in there is about to see how a plant grows. And this takes a dried bean, which I bought. These are dried beans, so they're not really going to be the same as the organic is what I bought. Garden beans, they're not going to be the same. And it tells you how to do that with a paper towel, a pitcher of water, a dried bean, and a glass jar. You can also try to grow a piece of plant just from a plant you already have. You need some soil, a little plant that you can cut using pruners. Here they are. Pruners that your parents probably have when they work in the garden, and a baggie and a rubber band. And then you'll cut off a piece of an existing plant and grow your own plant. I also incorporated or included a plants crossword puzzle and a word search about the plant, the words that we've talked about today, and some other words about plants. And of course at the back I put the answers. But don't look at the answers unless you really, really can't get it. Okay? All right, that's it for today. I'm going to wrap it up and say goodbye to you, and I'm hoping that you'll view me again next Friday at 2 p.m. And we're going to start working on talking about the human body. It'll be a lot of fun. I'll see you next time. Bye.